My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask you for pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. In the Gospel today, we read your words, Jesus, to your disciples in Galilee. You said to them, "The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill him, and he will be raised on the third day. The Son of Man will die, but he will rise again, always." And today also we celebrate the feast of St Maximillian Kolbe, on whom those same words were fulfilled. The story of St Maximillian Kolbe is well known, I guess. After the outbreak of the Second World War, he was one of the few friars who remained in the monastery, where he organized a temporary hospital. And after the town was captured by the Germans, they arrested him on the 19th of September 1939. And he also refused to sign a document recognizing his ethnic German ancestry, which would have given him rights similar to those of German citizens. Upon his release, he continued to work at his friary, where he and other friars provided shelter to refugees from Poland, including also 2,000 Jews, whom he hid from the German persecution. And on the 17th of February 1941, the monastery was shut down by German authorities, and St Maximillian Kolbe and 4 others were arrested by the Gestapo and imprisoned. And finally, in May, he was transferred to Auschwitz as prisoner 16670. And we remember, Jesus, that at the end of July, a prisoner escaped from the camp, and the deputy camp commander picked up 10 men to be starved to death in an underground bunker to deter further escape attempts. But then, one of the selected men, Franciszek Gajunicic, or something similar to that, started crying out, "My wife, my children." And St. Maximilian stepped forward and said he wanted to take his place. And the commander was astonished and asked him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm a Catholic priest." That was it. No name, just a mission, a vocation, an identity. I am a Catholic priest. And I do what priests should do, to give up their lives for the sheep. And so he was allowed to die in the place of that man. And in his prison cell, St. Maximilian led the prisoners in prayer. And each time the guards checked on him, he was standing or kneeling in the middle of the cell and looking calmly at those who entered. And after they have been starved and deprived of water for 2 weeks, only St. Maximilian and 3 others remained alive. So finally, they were given lethal injection and died precisely on this day, 82 years ago. And upon his canonization, Pope St. John Paul II declared St. Maximilian Kolbe as a confessor and a martyr of charity. So today, Jesus, is a good day to pray for charity, for increase of charity in the world. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Certainly, one can think charity is not very fashionable nowadays. People are more concerned about what they can get than about what they can give. There is, as someone told me, a new pandemic of narcissism. It is quite a statement. But there is no doubt that charity is endemic. Jesus, increase our charity. Let's transform this world by infusing charity precisely where it is more needed. As St. John of the Cross said, where there is no love, but love, and you will find love. As fast as gossip can spread, charity can spread. As fast as bad news spreads, or hatred spreads, or panic spreads, so can charity spread. Jesus, we ask you today for a campaign of charity, a global movement that can switch the currents. In general, everyone feels sorry for those who suffer, whose pictures you can find in the news or in some magazines. Everyone feels sorry when seeing pictures of children starving, when reading news about abuse or exploitation or human trafficking. Feeling sorry for those far away is easy. Sending money to charity and even volunteering to pick up litter to preserve the planet. But those close to us may not be the objects of our pity or compassion. C.S. Lewis wrote it in his Screwtape Letters. I hope you know the book. It is composed of a series of letters that a senior demon sends to his nephew, an amateurish tempter, to teach him the tricks that can beat humans. And in one of those letters, this senior demon deals with this topic. And he explains to his nephew, do what you will, there's going to be some benevolence, as well as some malice, in your patient's soul. The patient being that person he needs to tempt. And so the devil continues, the great thing is to direct the malice to his immediate neighbors, whom he meets every day, and to thrust his benevolence out to the remote circumference, to people he doesn't know. The malice thus becomes wholly real, and the benevolence largely imaginary. There is no good at all in inflaming his hatred of Germans if, at the same time, a pernicious habit of charity is growing up between him and his mother, his employer, and the man he meets in the train. That's the end of the quote, and the message is clear. Everyone has good feelings. The problem is we may not have those for the people who live in the same home with us. The temptation, Jesus, is to have charitable feelings for people we don't know, people we see in the news, and foster more uncharitable feelings for those we meet every day, at work, at home, and the neighbors. St Maximillian Kolbe could have thought, well, I see, these 10 men have been unlucky. Let's pray for them. He could have justified himself saying, what's the point? We will all die here one day. Or, I may do more good if I stay alive. Or even, if God wanted me to die, he would have made that I was chosen among those 10 prisoners. But St. Maximilian didn't make excuses. He loved his neighbor, the one who was next to him that day. Jesus, in this time of prayer, we can think of the lack of charity we have had with those around us. Ask yourself, in your prayer, am I a source of charity? Those in my home, my neighbors, do they feel loved by me? Or am I one of those who can be very nice to strangers on the train, but doesn't stop barking at home? As a child told me one day in school, my mum is very nice when we have guests. Well, we may not be asked to give our lives for our friends, in the sense of dying for them, but we are all asked to give our lives for others, to live for others, to give oneself for others. This is the essence of our religion, love. There may be other things that we are not good at, But love? We're all meant to be professionals of love. We all have what it takes to be a driving force of change, an incentive for change, to put love where there is not love and find love. Jesus, help us to transform this world following the example of St Maximillian Kolbe. Your example, Jesus, to lay down your life for your friends. And you, Mary, my Mother Immaculate, enlarge my heart to love as you love. First, those who are closer to me, and little by little, like concentric circles, to transform the world, teaching people to love. I give you thanks, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask you for help to put them into effect. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.